You want to know how the average 780 experience feels like? Well, watch this.
Fighting for days, stuck in a phase. I think we're losing the reason. One word is all it takes, babe. We're still out in cold flames. Breathing, we are catching fire. Thought that we were wiser. Going like the match, babe. Miss out on the good days. Breathing, we are catching fire.
Well, yep, that was my average experience with 780 so far after I have played many more battles after my first impressions video I did last time on the channel. And yes, guys, let's get one thing out of the way really quickly. I know you guys are going to mention it. I was not using the improved configuration, you know, which lowers the chance of fire quite drastically. I was instead going with the full fire crew and also with the preventative maintenance driver skill, which lowers the chance of fire. So I went with that because I didn't want to lose my rammer or my turbo or my improved hardening, yes, which, you know, boost the HP, boost the mobility, and also the DPM with the rammer. And the rammer is definitely must have on this tank because it has no DPM, and you need DPM in many situations, especially when you're facing those you know, fast-paced battles in nowadays world of tanks. But now, you know, after I have played many more battles with this vehicle, what is my second take on this tank? Well, you know, the biggest feedback I have heard from the community is that many are very disappointed and very sad that they did not give out this vehicle for CCs, for content creators to test out before, to make videos about that before, and it would have saved a lot of freaking money and resources, or in some cases money and resources, you know, because my first video about this vehicle was about first impressions, you know, showcasing this vehicle because it was a timed sell or the limited quantity, you know, you had to be fast, you wanted to see how it behaves at least a little bit on the battlefield, right? Because on EU server, I think every single unit, 50,000 freaking 780s were sold out in 14 hours, 13 hours, something like that in first day, and there are still vehicles left if I'm not mistaken on NA and on the Asian server, if I'm not mistaken, but after many more battles I can easily tell that this vehicle is not for everyone. If you want to actually do good in it, maximize this, you have to be quite skilled in the game, you have to know what you're doing in heavy tanks, you have to know how to angle your armor and how to work around this lower plate, which is very weird in many situations, many positions, you know. It seems to be auto bounce, right? You know, just super angled on the top, in the lower plate as well, the upper places, lower places or lower plate, very angled, but it is so easy to give almost out of hand for the enemies if you do not know what you're doing in this vehicle, peeking the reach line a bit wrongly, because this entire front of the vehicle goes out so far, you know. It is, yes, very bikey, very narrow, or however you say that, but it is so easy to misplace it, it is so easy to give enemies good angles to penetrate your lower plate, which, you know, can equal easy engine fire as well, because this entire tank seems to be filled with gasoline or diesel or whatever it runs on, right? So you know, you have to know what you're doing in this vehicle, and many players do not know how to play this tank, and now it is simply sitting in the garage, resources, you know, can we say wasted? Well, you have a unique vehicle. If you did get the number, you have a number tank as well. But if you got the regular one and you are not enjoying it, well, that feels very bad indeed. Even though there were many players who were able to get it completely for free, simply using the stuff they had available in the garage already, but at the same time, many had to spend some money, you know, maybe buy some gold to convert free experience or to simply use gold or whatever. And it was almost unobtainable for free-to-play players and new players unless they opened their wallets and pay 200 euros for that. Many people asked during the stream what do like how much is this vehicle worth or something. I said it is definitely not worth more than 50 euros if you had to spend money on the vehicle. And the new players overall actually shouldn't even look at tier 10 tanks. First they should grind out their first tier 10s, play over there to see how they are doing with the tier 10 tanks overall. This is definitely not the best tier 10 vehicle to pick up if you were a new player. I honestly do not want to see new players playing with 780, you know, in a tier 10 matchmaking, which already is quite a chaotic place to be, right? And if we have a new player like with 2,000, 3,000 battles playing with 780, that's actually quite bad for the game. So this is where the assembly shop event kind of failed a bit, I would say. So the idea is good, but it can be done way better. For example, you know, add some maybe parts grinding to it as well. You actually have to complete some missions maybe to get the final parts or something like that. Yes, you are able to fill some percentage, or let's simply say even a majority of the percentage with your resources you already have in the garage available, but to finalize the vehicle you actually have to play or complete some missions. I don't know, just, you know, a thought, an idea from the top of my head. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section. How did you like the assembly shop event overall? You know, hit me up, guys. But now, talking about what is good about this tank, the gun is the best thing, of course. Like, the aiming time is super good. Accuracy, dude, accuracy. Sometimes it makes you simply feel like you are the most accurate player in the game. You are the best player ever. But on the other hand, it trolls. It terps so much as well. I have missed some absolutely ridiculously fully aimed in shots. And one weird thing, I don't know, is this a vehicle based or just, you know, bad RNG, I don't know, but it feels like when you even have the slightest part of the aiming circle covered with the ground, it finds that ground so often. I don't know, is this the terpiness, is this the trolliness of the gun, or what is going on over here? But still, it's you know, quite a trolley gun can be, but the gun, I would say, the alpha damage and all those things feel quite juicy for me at least. The mobility is decent, like fully field modded up with turbo, 55 top speed, or, you know, close to 50 without turbo, depends which type of equipment units you are using. So the mobility is decent, but it's quite sluggish. It feels quite sluggish. It is quite wide, a big vehicle. So this is why I would say the mobility is decent. Not like super exceptional or anything. The power to weight ratio is very good though, you know, with turbo almost close to 20, without turbo let's say 17, 18 power to weight ratio. Then the view range 410, very good, right? You're able to back some assistance, simply spotting tanks when you're playing it aggressively in some aggressive positions. But talking about how balanced this vehicle is overall for the game, many were expecting, and this is where the biggest disappointment comes from the player base as well, I would say. So many were expecting, simply by looking at the vehicle, how it felt on the paper, how it looks like, they were expecting next 279E or Chieftain type of vehicle, and it definitely is not that, which, you know, is a good thing as well. Do we really want to see another 50,000, let's say, Chieftain type vehicles in the matchmaking? Then we would have at least 1 or 2 780s on the battlefield all the time, Chieftains and stuff like that. And if you're playing with anything else, you're going to struggle big time, right? So we didn't want to see that, but how it compares overall to detector vehicles, for example, I would say it can be compared to detector vehicles like something from 277, like something from IS-7, but it feels like you have to be so much more careful in this. And work so much more in Object 780, and honestly feels like whoever designed this vehicle was too scared making it overpowered, you know, adding this very pointy armor, very narrow armor, bouncy armor, which seems to be at first, plus then to balance it even more, you know, let's increase the engine fire slider to the max basically, so almost every shot can set it on fire if you do not do anything about that, like the preventative maintenance or the improved configuration, fire crew, you know, you need to have all those things as well on this vehicle. And seems like whoever designed it didn't think about premium rounds, because as soon as tier 10 vehicles switch premium rounds on, this armor becomes useless. You know, there are so many freaking premium rounds flying around, and many premium rounds, 340 heat for example, can go through your turret, even frontal cheeks, boom 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 boom. So what use do you have balancing this vehicle with all the other things? It honestly feels like it was made to simply face stomp tier 8s and tier 9s. Yes, it is very good at face stomping tier 8s, tier 9s, as you can see from the background battle as well, but in tier 10s, you know, I have played, I would say 100 plus battles with it, and majority, huge majority of the battles have been, maybe even 80% plus battles, have been in tier 10, full tier 10 battles. And over there, as soon as they see this vehicle, maybe they bounce one shot, the next shot is going to be primo round. And all the balancing features of this tank out of the window already automatically, and then you have to work so much more to dish out the damage. Yes, once again, the alpha damage 530 is very beautiful. This is the best thing about this, like the gun is the best thing about this tank. But the rest of the vehicle, it once again comes down to what are you comparing it to, guys? Is it balanced tank? Is it a weak tank? Is it overpowered tank? Well, definitely it is not overpowered, and I would say it is not the weakest tank either, so it is kind of a balanced tank in World of Tanks, right? But if you compare it to the Grand One, if you compare it to the VZ55, if you compare it to the, let's say, Chieftain and 279E, let's say, of course, it is not as good as those tanks, and this is, I believe, where the biggest disappointment from the community comes from. They were expecting another crazy good tank without actually knowing what they are going to get, because it was a limited time sale, or actually limited quantity sale. We had plenty of time until July 11th, I believe this event ran, but on the EU server, you know, the fewer vehicles there were left, the more people started rushing towards it, because, you know, you do not want to get missed out if this tank turns out to be absolutely crazy broken tank, right? But, you know, this is where the biggest disappointments comes from, actually, talking about 780. Expectations were through the roof. But instead of getting another Chieftain, another 279E, Grand One, VZ55, those type of tanks, you actually get something which is somewhat balanced in World of Tanks. You know, once again, compared to what? You can't say it is balanced in every single situation, right? But, you know, comparing it to different factors. Anyway, guys, what do you think about 780? Now, after it has been live for like 5 days, I believe today is 5th day, this tank has been out here, has been played in the matchmaking. How do you feel about that? Is it hard to take out? Is it easy to take out? Do you like this tank yourself? Are you happy with the balance? You want to see it being stronger, weaker? What is your take on 780 after 5 days? Let's have a little chat in the comment section about that, and about the overall event as well. Do you like it? Would you like to see more stuff via the assembly shop released in this way, or, you know, some tuning to it? What is your take on it? Comment section is your place to be. And while you are down there already, consider hitting the like button if you enjoy my content. It helps out the channel a lot. And I get you next time with something else. Stay safe. Do not be set on fire in 780 too many times. Stay sexy, stay naked, take care, and bye.